See you at the top. That's where I go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the See You at the Top podcast. My name's Kirby, and I'm honored to be here with Ahmad Latif from Raleigh, North Carolina. Come on and raise up. And speaking of raising up, speaking of getting higher, speaking of getting to the top, that's why we're here today, ladies and gentlemen, because it's all about getting to the top. And Ahmed dropped an album earlier this year called See You at the Top, but I just want to thank you for being here.
For sure. I appreciate the opportunity for sure.
Definitely, man. And I just want to tell everybody real quick a little bit about how me and you connected. And I think, like we were talking about, pre-interview, man, the universe has a magical way of working out when you're really pushing your limits and when you're really tapping into your potential. So everybody knows, hey, this is the See You at the Top podcast. He's also a believer in See at the Top, which I got some questions for you on that today. But I was earlier this year, probably a little bit, probably around May, maybe a little bit after May. I was like, man, I'm going to search Apple Music. And I'm going to see, I'm going to search for my favorite saying. Everybody knows my punchline, I end almost every one of my videos with See at the Top. I was like, man, let's see if they got a good playlist or something like that on there. And I'm searching and I found a playlist, but something also that popped up was this fresh new album called See You at the Top by you. And I said, man, I got to check this album out. And I click it. And on the very first song, it said, within the first second of your album, See at the Top, it said, let's be better. And I just felt like I felt like a wave of inspiration. And I was like, man, that's amazing, because your album is called See at the Top. I have a movement called Kirby Better. And the first thing you say on that album, what exactly was it? It was let's
be better. I got to go back and listen to it now, but something along those lines.
Let's be better. And I just said, man, I gotta reach out to you. And I sent him a message on Instagram, and we've been staying in touch ever since. And I've jammed that song and that album probably at least 100 times, man. It's fire, man. It's an absolutely great album. It's one of my top 3 picks for the year, man. So definitely great work on that album.
For sure, I appreciate that. That's ironic that you searched it during that time, because the album came out like May, like the second week in May or something like that too. So that's timing.
Definitely, man. Hey, timing is everything, man. I think the universe works in mysterious ways, and when you're doing what you love and loving what you do, man, things will just naturally fall into place. But definitely. So, I'm super glad we got connected. I'm, super glad I heard that album. I think, he's a hip hop artist, from North Carolina, and I see a super bright future from you, man, because I'm loving your music. And tell us a little bit about how you got into rap to begin with, or hip hop. What do you like to say, rap or hip hop?
Rap, hip hop, all of that. I tried, but I really got into it just for a long time. I started off making beats. I was real interested in the technical part. I was one of those kids that, when I used to hear things on the radio, or I used to just hear music in general, I was thinking about, how was that made? Like, as a kid in elementary school, like, man, how was that made? And then I got my first computer, and I think I seen like a commercial or something when, I don't know, Windows had put some new stuff out and all that stuff, and I just became like real interested in the technical part of it. So and then I think I was just freestyling over one of my beats one day, and then one of my friends was like, man, you kind of nice. I was like, for real? I think that's all I needed, for somebody to tell me that, you know what I'm saying? And then all throughout high school, that's what I did. I had a little viral moment on MySpace, wrote a song about a girl. She broke my heart for the first time. You know how that goes. And
way back, we're talking MySpace over here today.
Been doing it for a while. And then I just had that bug since then. I just always wanted to just to get better at my craft, from that point on. So and now we here, we still going.
Hey, still going, and we're just getting started, man. 2 young guns on the rise. How old are you, Ahmad?
I'm 28.
28. Hey, that's my birthday right there, man. May 28th, and that's right around the same time I heard your album, man. I'm a strong believer in something I like to call synchronicities, kind of like these signs from the universe, that it's like you see it and you're like, man, that's too good to be true. But guess what? Everything happens for a reason, my friends. There is no such thing as coincidence. And I believe me and you got connected for a reason. And who knows, man, I'm starting to, we'll talk after this about some things I'm working on. But I think I think we can definitely do some big things together in this creative space that we're both pushing. But tell me a little bit about the first song on that album, "See at the Top," which was Troy Day, because I love the album. And one thing I love about your music, it has so much sustenance to it. It has so much meaning, and it's not just your typical hip hop, with some auto tunes. It's got a lot of meaning from what I feel. And tell me a little bit about Troy Day and what the meaning behind that one was.
For sure. Troy Day was actually kind of dedicated to a brother I grew up with that, he lost his life a few years ago. And so that's his name is Troy. And actually his birthday is May 1st. And I was contemplating back and forth for when I was gonna put the album out. I had all that music sitting for like a couple years. And then that day I woke up, like it was like 2 a.m. That's how the song kind of started, 2, 1 a.m, and all that stuff. So and I realized it was his birthday. I was just thinking about him, and I was like, man, I just started writing about him without even thinking it was his birthday. Then I realized after I was done writing that it was his birthday. So I woke up, called the engineer. I was like, I gotta come to the studio, today, right now. So came to the studio and did that song, and I was just like, you know what? Let's just put the tape out. Let's just put the album out. And that was the fault. So I put it out the following Friday. So it was only right that was the last song I made for it. And it was like one of those things that just felt right, So and that's where the inspiration came from.
Hey, well,
So,
it inspired me for sure, man. And I think it's an absolutely great album. And one thing that definitely I've let get to me quite a bit with Kirby Better over the years. I've been doing this for about 3 years now with Kirby Better after really getting aligned with my purpose. But I've definitely kind of and I'm getting better at this for sure. And I'm really not even letting it phase me these days, because I'm realizing that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I'm in that pocket, man. I'm hitting my habits, but I've definitely let these numbers get to me quite a bit. I look at my numbers on Instagram, even with the new podcast, and it's like, how do you feel about that? And have you ever had times where you just kind of get caught up in the numbers a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely had my moments with that, but I came to a point, and actually not that long ago, I came to a point that kind of like what you were saying, everything happens for a reason, and the numbers they're gonna catch up. If you got the quality work, everything is gonna catch up. Everything has its time. So and then, and it's things that we can do as well, and I think that if it forces us to get more creative, come up with more ideas. How can I get this to a more broader audience? What ways can what ways can I connect? And I just started being appreciative of, one follower at a time. When I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, I was, so everybody starts from a certain place. So it's just long as you keep that trail going. So that's where I'm at mentally when it comes to numbers and things like that. So I definitely feel you on that, because I had my sure.
Definitely. No, I feel you as well. And as the saying goes, those who show appreciation have more appreciation, get more appreciation. So the bottom line is, the more gratitude that you show, the more blessings you're going to get. And man, you just nailed it. You said just one person at a time. You said, I'm worried about just reaching that one person at a time. And I really feel like that's our mission statement at Kirby Better, making the world a better place, one person at a time. And I've really realized that over the years. And you know what, man, if you just keep pumping that quality out, man, time just ain't caught up yet, man. I see your skill set. I'm a huge, supporter of the hip hop culture for several years. And I see you got the skill set, man. Your music is inspiring me. And, I see that you got a lot more to come. But I noticed that you posted a picture, I think it was on your social media, of Nick Cannon quite some time ago. Has he been, is he somebody that really inspired you?
Yeah, that was man, he as a businessman definitely inspired me. I'm not saying nothing against his music or anything like that, but yeah, as a businessman, Cannon definitely inspired me. And I just happened to one of those moments I had a few years ago. I went out to New Jersey. I was in the New York area, and I was it's the studio called Quad Studios, the same studios that Tupac got shot at. A lot of legends recorded there. So and somebody that I look up to a lot, J. Cole, he's from Fayetteville.
Oh wow.
And I remember he recorded a lot of his, I'm gonna student of the game. I know he recorded some of his earlier albums there. So I went to New York and I was just like, I took a picture of the studio. It was Times Square. And I was just like, you know what? One day I'm gonna go in there and work. I'm gonna make some music in there one day. And then a year later, I just took myself out of the situation, moved out there, and I started working out that same studio. And I just happened to run into Nick Cannon after a session. Just it was one of those studios where it's 2 studios in one space, and we share a hallway and we share the bathroom. And I was coming out the bathroom and he was coming out his studio room, and I'm just like, oh man, Nick, so we end up chopping it up and just connect.
This is the second time it happened, man. So on the third interview of the See at the Top podcast, when I was telling my story, I really wanted to start telling the story of like how I started using the saying "see you at the top."
Okay.
And I had kind of like done it. Jordan tried to get me on camera like 4 or 5 times doing it. And the first time I did it, I told it incredibly well. But the very last like 2 seconds of the pitch, I stumbled my words. It was like, man, that was the most fluid I've ever been on camera. And I was beating myself up. I was in one of those moods like, you got to get better. You're not good enough, Kirby. And to make a long story short, I just knew I was going to tell it in that third episode because I did a 3-part series on my story. I knew I was going to tell it on that third one. And then Jordan asked, and I was on fire this day. You've had days where you're just like, you're in that flow state. You have days where you're just like, man, I can't do nothing. I'm just not feeling it. And then you have days where it's like, it's just, Michael Jordan, Game 6, Utah Jazz, and Jordan asked me the question on episode 3. So how did you start using the word "see at the top"? And I started going and it was flowing. And I was like, oh, I got it. It's here. And then I hit him with the punchline, "see you at the top." And right as I said, "see at the top," the whole power in my building went out in that split second. And I'm like, this "see at the top's got some power behind it for sure.
It does for sure.
But yeah, let's get back to it. I mean, we only got like 10 minutes left. So where did we leave off? It was the Nick Cannon story. You think we ought to take it back from the beginning of that? Yes. Okay, he says take it back.
We can if you want.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Let me get back to my questions here real quick. And then yeah, definitely. We'll take it back to the. Okay, cool. Okay, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We took a quick break because for the second time, "See you at the top" knocked the power out in the building. We had a Wi-Fi issue. The power is actually out in the building, but we got a hot spot, so we're still rocking and rolling. That "See at the top's" got some power behind it. Me and Ahmad coming together has some high energy behind it. And hey, we're just getting started. But the question I just asked you was, I saw that a couple of years ago you had posted a photo of you and Nick Cannon, and you were kind of telling me about how you met him and how he inspired you.
For sure. Yeah, that was just one of those, like I said, it was just one of those universal moments for me, like, going out there and I was working out that studio specifically. And I just happened to run into him in the hallway. And that type of studio, everybody, like the big record labels, they send their artists to record there. So, I'm walking past him. He don't know if I'm Diddy's new artist or somebody, so we just chopped it up, and I invited him into my session and just to play him what I recorded, exchange phone numbers. He gave me some really good advice I can live with, for a long time. And yeah, I was just really inspired and humbled at that moment because I used to see Nick Cannon, as we know, used to on Wild and Out, and a lot of the like the silly stuff that the comedic stuff that he does, and for him to sit me down and talk to me about just life and things like that, that was like real inspiration for me as well. And I was having one of those days where I wasn't going to go to the studio that day because I was like, man, I don't even know if I should be doing this. Is it even worth it? Why am I in New York? One of those things. And that just was that extra boost, that one of those universal boosts that just happened. I was charged up since then. So yeah, I was definitely motivated for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, your music is
that's my guy.
For sure. Who else has played a big, instrumental role in your career so far, and who else is really inspiring you the most?
Outside of my my family and my team that I got put together, on the music side. I'm actually from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I went to college in Raleigh, and I've just been out here ever since then. But J. Cole, you know, ever since, and I know it's kind of cliche because he's a big artist, but you know, personally, just to be around. I remember before J. Cole blew up on MySpace days, I had discovered him. I remember shooting them messages on MySpace, like, man, we gotta work this. And at this time, I'm a kid still, you know, so I don't even know if he even read it or not. And then like a couple months later, that's when I found out that Jay-Z had signed him. So I was just super inspired by Cole and a lot of the things that he's done for the city as well, silently. So that's been one of my hugest inspirations for sure.
His music is great too. And, you know, I can definitely see some similarities between y'all's because you guys are talking about real stuff. You know, I see you're talking about getting better, improving, you know, growing. And, you know, I see J. Cole is not just talking about, you know, this and that. He's got some real meaning behind his music
For
as well,
sure.
for sure. You know, I noticed in your See at the Top album, you talk quite a bit about, or you said in one of your songs, you know, kind of, I'm meditating. Is that something, you know, that you're into? Do you meditate
Yeah.
actually? Awesome.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely. Now
What
go
kind of,
ahead. You about
yeah, no worries. What kind of meditation do you do?
I just really tapping into myself. Just I mean, I don't know what I ain't gonna say I'm the biggest, you know, meditating guy out here, but I do whenever I'm in like, you know, ruts or whatever. I definitely try to tap into myself, you know, rather that's just thinking to myself in silence. Just really grounding myself, you know. Sometimes, yeah, I'll go outside and take my shoes off and just walk on the lawn barefooted, you know, things like that. Just to you know, just those little reminders just let me know I'm grounded here on earth, and I got things I got to do before I get out of here. So but yeah, I definitely meditate for sure.
Definitely, I love that, and that's something that I've really had to work on myself. Is just, you know, getting so out of the external and just going inside. And you know,
Yes.
I did a 10-day meditation, a silent meditation called Vipassana meditation. And I was that kid that couldn't sit still for 2 seconds in class, and I was
Mm.
busting in, you know, cutting people off mid sentence, and it's been a huge thing in my growth over these last 2 years.
What
So
is
you know, I sorry, say that again.
what is the meditation called? The silent meditation?
It's called Vipassana meditation. Anybody who's listening out there, I highly recommend you guys. They have them all over the nation. It's 100% free. If you just search Vipassana meditation, Vipassana. Don't quote me on the spelling, please. But if you type that in on Google, just type in Vipassana meditation, and they have these free retreats all over the nation. They feed you good vegetarian food the entire time, and you do 10 days of just silence, reflecting, and learning how to meditate. And essentially, when you go in, you just really learn so much about yourself. And I just fought through a lot of my issues and my imbalances that I was going through. And I came out of there feeling light as a butterfly, you know, float like a
Mm.
butterfly, sting like a bee. I was light as can be, no anxiety, it was gone. So I recommend anybody to definitely do it, because it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like going and playing basketball with LeBron James for 10 days, every
Mm.
single day, you know, for six
Oh
hours.
wow.
You're going to get pretty good,
Wow. Okay.
but it's going to be a
Okay.
little uncomfortable as well, because you have to perform at that level. So you're kind of getting thrown in the fire. It's not easy.
Right,
It's
right.
challenging, but it's most definitely worth it. And you seem to have a very spiritual side to yourself as well. How did you get into spirituality? Because I noticed you talk about it a lot in your music. Can you hear
For
me?
sure. For sure. I actually grew up Muslim, and that's why my name is Ahmad, and I grew up Muslim, and as I got older, I'm not a practicing Muslim right now, but I'm more of that's just more of my how I was grounded coming up as far as principles, how to treat people, how to, you know, how to live and things like that. And now and that really elevated me into just a more spiritual person, just a more a consciously aware of certain things in life. And so that's really my foundation of spirituality, is growing up in Islam.
That's
So
awesome, man.
it
Definitely. No,
was deep.
that awesome. And I think, you know, religion can definitely teach you those core principles, you know, treat others as you want to be treated. Just, you know, definitely, I think it's definitely important. You know, I come from a Jewish descent. I like to consider myself, you know, just more spiritual. But the bottom line is I definitely am Jewish, and it's my heritage and it's who I am. But for me, I just think everybody has a different connection with the higher power. And it's all about just tapping into your potential and connecting on a greater level with the higher power. Let me see something real quick. It's saying my
man, we got so much more in common than
definitely. The only issue, man, is this interview could be fire, but we're having internet issues over here. But hey, we're gonna keep rocking and rolling. So we could always do another one. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do another one, man, because the interview was a little choppy, and I know that I think this interview is gonna be dope if it's smooth. But let me ask you a couple more questions, man, and we'll wrap this thing up. So why did you decide to call your album "See at the Top"?
Man, and man, that's the crazy story behind that. I was actually looking at your explanation, how you came up with it, and it's actually quite similar as well. That came from my father. My father, he retired. He was retired in the military. He spent 32 years in the military, and when it was a certain point, we was living in Chicago when we was younger. He was a recruiter. And he had won this award. I don't remember what exact award it was, but he had won this award. And his leader at the time told, I guess, everybody in the room at the end just to stand up on their chairs. And then she asked, like, how does it feel? And then she left out. She's like, I see y'all at the top. And then I guess that just stuck with my dad, for at that moment in his young career at that time. And that elevated him all the way he was able to, go to the top of his rank, ended as command sergeant major. And but that was a quote, something that stuck with him. And then as I got older, it started to stick with me as well. I always used to hear him say it. And then it one day, kind of like you said, that one day when you was walking in the door and your dad was like, see you at the top, and it just clicked for you. I don't know exactly what moment it was for me, but I remember it was definitely a moment where I'm like, man, see you at the top. That's it's simple, but it's deep. Like, so it came from my dad. Now my dad, he has a nonprofit foundation called Keep Climbing, See You at the Top, where he mentors young kids and everything like that. So that's where it originated from. It just stuck with me. We got a lot in common. I talk crazy.
A lot in common, man, for sure. And hey, man, we definitely probably have to do this again because I'm just not feeling the internet connection. But no, man, we got a lot more stuff to do together, man. I'm not worried about this little internet glitch. The power just came back on. But no, man, I definitely would love to, support your dad's organization. Maybe shoot me some details over, figure out a way to, man, that's awesome for sure. Keep climbing, see you at the top. Yeah, that's awesome, man. We do have a lot in common. And, I feel like we're both two young guns. We're that's what I say too. And I definitely have a vision for the See You at the Top movement of having, people all over the world kind of going through a tough time, climbing to the top of a mountain, whatever it is. If you're having a tough time, your friend says, hey, it's all good, man. Keep climbing. See you at the top. It's not over yet, man. It's never over. And I would love to have this movement of, when people, let me see if the internet is back on now. See if Chankin Law Firm came back. No, it's still not. So I would love to have this movement to where, people are climbing to the top of mountains. And when they get to the top, they send me a video or Kirby Better or See at the Top saying see at the top. And I send them some free merch, some free inspiration. So I'm just getting started with this too. And I feel like a lot of sorry for interrupting. I feel like a lot of climbers and hikers will love that as well, for sure.
For sure.
Let me just see it. Okay, perfect. The Wi-Fi is back now. Let me just click in. That should fix the Wi-Fi issue. Okay, perfect. See, the Wi-Fi is a lot cleaner now. So, yeah, sorry for everybody out there listening. We had a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue, so I'm gonna definitely have to bring Ahmad back on. But we're gonna drop this one for sure. We're gonna bring him back for round 2. And as I told you guys, we ended up knocking the power out because, hey, see you at the top. It's all about that energy, baby. Energy and evolving and growing. And you know what? When you have that powerful energy, you might knock some power out. That's the bottom line. Me and my man Jordan, who's sitting over here, we knocked the power out once. We did it again. But hey, we're going to keep climbing. We're not going to let a little power outage stop us, man, because it's an evolution.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. That was a bar. You didn't even think about being a rapper. That's a bar.
Lyrical spirit. Now I'm gonna stick to, I'm a Jewish white boy from the suburbs. I'm gonna stay in my lane over here, but I would love to definitely, represent you. I would definitely love to represent you one day, potentially, and just other, top, top entertainers and top hip hop artists. And I'd love to get you guys top contracts because that's what we're all about. But no, definitely, man. It's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you, and everything you said, because it was a little choppy there. I just want to hit on that point again. How your father really gave you the inspiration to start using C at the top. My father really gave me the inspiration, and it's just one of those moments you said it where it just hits you, and you were just like, C at your dad kept saying C at the top, and it just hit you, and now you're in a way kind of moving your father's legacy forward, who is a an incredible guy in the military, and he has an awesome organization. Tell everybody out there listening what the name of his nonprofit organization is.
So his name it's Keep Climbing, See You at the Top. So and it's just really focused on just advancing the lives of young kids, younger adults going into adulthood, and specifically young males. So yeah, we're definitely looking to do some great things with that.
Man, that's amazing. I'm feeling a lot of synergies right now, man, for sure. Because Jordan is from the same place you're from, in Raleigh, North Carolina. And Jordan really, really wants to reach out to the young kids from the inner cities to help. He played basketball at Oregon University, and his big mission is to teach these kids how to play basketball, but more importantly, how to develop as individuals so that they can become the best version of themselves. So I'm seeing, you're going to have your organization. Jordan's going to have his. There's a lot more stuff that's gonna be moving forward with us in the future for sure.
Sure, most definitely. I'm excited about it.
Definitely, man. So last couple questions here for you. And one thing I just want to hit on real quick as well before I ask you these last two questions. Notice how we definitely had some challenging situations throughout this interview with the Wi-Fi. And this is definitely, I just want to share this message with everybody. I definitely started getting a little bit uncomfortable, feeling a little bit of that pressure throughout this interview, because I'm like, man, I know that me and you coming together happened for a powerful reason. We have some jewels to share with people. We have a lot of love and inspiration to spread. So I was getting a little uncomfortable, but I just kept telling myself, be one, Kirby, slow down, just get in the moment. And that's what you were saying is big to you, just get grounded, take your shoes off, feel nature, go out there, get to the top of a mountain. And that's what it's all about. These little roadblocks, they're going to come in life. You can't avoid, man plans and God laughs. So it's definitely wise to plan. But the bottom line is you have to get good with just rocking and rolling with the punches and staying present in the moment and making the most of every single situation and knowing that everything is an uplifting occurrence. Everything is a blessing at the end of the day. Well, but on that note, what does see you at the top mean to you?
See you at the top. What that means, man, what that means to me is it's a man, like it's an olive branch extension. Like, you see somebody, like kind of like even situations like these when you see somebody else going through something in life and you hit them, man, I see you at the top, man. It's a I don't know. It's something that I can't even explain it. I know because you're about it, but it's just, when you say that to somebody or somebody says that to you, it's just like one of those I got it. I'll see you there. Whatever your top is, I'll see you there. Even it's like one of those things that goes beyond life itself. Even like after we went through this life and we had done everything that we're supposed to do while we're here, and we evolved. Even when that comes to that day, we're not here no more. Like, man, I'll see that person at the top. Wherever they are, I'll see them at the top. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something deep for me, So I don't know. It's universal magic. I don't know.
Hey, I love that, man. I definitely tapped into your energy there, man, for sure. Cause it's magical for me too, man. It's kind of like us tapping into this saying, but really it's just us tapping into, higher consciousness. It's tapping into the higher spirit, to the holy of all holies. I know you have a song called Holy on your album, which I absolutely love. And to me, see you at the top is just my way of saying, hey, you get, I interviewed somebody the other day called the Mojo Master. And he said, hey, you get to the top of this one mountain and you think you're at the top. You're at the top of your game. You're at the top of the mountain. All of a sudden you look over and you say, gosh, dog it, there's another peak that's even higher. So
Yeah.
it's just an evolution. And I love that you tapped on that it's beyond life itself. So when you pass away here, your spirit can keep rising. Look at Muhammad Ali. Look at Martin Luther King. He's still climbing. His spirit is still rising. So it's about just, Albert Einstein, it's about becoming the best version of yourself day in and day out. And we don't even quite know what that is. And that's what I'm really starting to realize. I used to constantly keep thinking that I could get to the top here. But the bottom line is, it's just constantly trying to stay at the top of your game. And the top of your game is you'll never know, because we can keep learning and growing. But hey, man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Some road bumps, which hey, that's what makes it fun, right? But the last question I want to ask you, Ahmed, is so to kind of like I just said, see you at the top to me is an evolution. It's saying you just like you said, I understand. I see that you understand as well, man. You're a spiritual being. You're rising up, you're climbing, you're improving yourself day in and day out. That's what see you at the top means to me. That's what it means to you. So what would you say your one piece of advice would be for what it takes to get to the top?
Is to always keep climbing. You touched on it about peaks and valleys. It's so many different, it's not just one top, it's kind of like, I'll use my process of like albums, or for an example, creating something or anything that you have in your possession that you want to create and bring to life. It's a climb. The best part of the process is the process. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get up there, you at the top, you finish making that process. It feels good being up there to be, to complete something. But then you looking beyond, like, man, I got to do that again. But you enjoy that feeling of being up there. But the best part is enjoying the process of going up there. So, getting to that peak, going through that valley again, and getting to that peak again. So that's the biggest thing for me. Just keep climbing. Don't get settled. Once you get to the top of complete something, whatever your top is, don't stop there. Enjoy it, celebrate it while you can, but keep going. So it's so, unless you get there and God says, let's go, just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
that's a wrap. We're gonna close the interview off with that, man, right there. That's a wrap. You crushed it, man. Hey, this is not the first time I'm gonna get you on the podcast. And if I can help you in any way, please let me know, man. You come on down to Houston. I got a place for you to stay. I got a great gym for you to work out. I got great food. And hey, we came together for a reason, man. And just like you said, we're gonna keep going, man. They can't stop us. And let's end the interview with a 3-2. Let's end the interview with a 3-2-1. See you at the top. 3, 2, 1. See you at the top. Let's go. Absolute pleasure, my man.
See you at the top. That's where I go.